It's not what I thought.
Okay, cool.
You have the right to ask questions and me the obligation to answer.
Yes,
no,
sir.
no problem. No problem. I think all issues have to be aired openly.
Yes, sir.
And then reason and wisdom will come.
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, well, first I'd like to just say, man, I love the Mexican community. I really love it. I have a passion for it. I do believe, personally, the border should be open. So I had a question, and I got to ask the Texas senator this question, do you think the government, the Texas government, U.S. government did the right thing by sending, the 250 kids they found in Mission, Texas, illegal, and the oldest was 12 years old, they were mostly infants, coming over here. Do you think the government did the right thing by sending them back? A lot of them were from...
I think, yes, they should, maybe, on a very humanistic and compassionate strategy, to first know who they are, why they are here, and try to bring them back home to their place by means that have total respect of human rights. That's what Mexico tries to do. Many times you don't accomplish what you're willing to do.
Yes, sir.
But the whole issue to me has to be dealt with compassion. Understanding that you cannot separate families, that that's a criminal thing, that is tough for them. But at the same time, I understand that a nation has the right to protect its borders. And that's where, unfortunately, U.S. Congress is doing wrong by not deciding.
Yes, sir.
Because if you don't have a policy, if you don't have a strategy, then these things happen. If there was a strategy, as it's stated in the initiative that is in Congress, that first to legalize and document those 10 million that are here, that have a job,
yes,
that are doing good for this nation. So once you prove that, they should be admitted,
yes, sir,
and documented.
I agree.
Okay, number two, there is a flow of 500,000 new jobs that are needed to be imported from abroad.
Yes, sir.
So when U.S. economy runs at the pace of 2 or 2.5%, then you need 500,000 additional workers in the nation, in the economy.
Yes, sir.
Those you can import through temporary strategy, temporary permits to come and work. And so that you will regulate the flow, and each year you will revise the flow. So if the economy is growing, you need the 500, let it be, bring the 500. If later next year is not growing and not moving, only what is needed. And even if it overpasses what is needed, then it's temporary work, you don't bring them anymore. So I think a temporary workers program could work pretty well, and it is on that initiative in Congress. Thirdly, what you mentioned, the third chapter of that initiative is consideration, humanistic considerations to families. That you cannot break, you cannot divide families, especially when they're kids involved. They need their parents.
Yes, sir.
So,
especially at a young age.
Yeah, the initiative contemplates some strategies to keep families together.
Yes, sir. No.
Sorry, just one more question, okay?
Go ahead.
And then we're going to have to cut because I need to get them over to the Student Center.
Okay. I guess with my last question is, when we were talking about legalizing, I guess the way I was trying to ask is I believe because, I was adopted. My parents were both drug addicts, big time. So say something like meth. He was real big. My biological dad was big in meth, and then my biological mom was a big time weed smoker. They couldn't take care of me because they had this drug addiction. But if we legalize the drugs, then it puts more families at risk kids, even if it's if it's restricted in a sense. You know what I'm saying? So I see it as, yes, it could diminish the cartel problem, but I still see it as it ruins more families. It could ruin more lives by choice, like you said.
Let me try to. It's a very interesting question. Let me tell you that my 4 kids are adopted. I have 4 kids, and all 4 of them are adopted. And I know many families that have problems with drugs consumed by their sons. But I'm not sure that you should blame the drug because of the behavior of their parents. It could have been alcohol, could have been just frustration, and then they went into drugs. So not every human being that has the opportunity under a legal system to consume a drug necessarily will come to this. But still, it will happen. It will happen. Drugs are bad for your health. So if you don't replace the prohibition by education, intense education, when in kids in the school, in kids within family, public education to public opinion and behavior, so that you do like it's happening with cigarettes. Out of a mass of cigarette consumers, through information, through the advice that if you smoke cigarettes, you get cancer.
Yes, sir.
People is reducing and reducing and reducing consumption. Almost the industry is about to disappear now, at least in Mexico. I mean, cigarette smokers have reduced considerably. So I'm sure that when you use that strategy with drugs, what you would get, like it happened in Portugal, in 10 years, there was a decrease of 25% of consumers. Through legalizing, the effect was reduction in consumption because now people is more aware, more informed, and knows that this idea that government is protecting me by prohibiting doesn't work. You know, the only guy who can prohibit you to consume is yourself.
Right. Would you say taking away guns?
That's it. Sorry.
Thank you so much.